Let's go to Kamala Harris's economic plan. Let's go to that. Kamala Harris did a speech today in North Carolina, right? And she laid out, because people have been criticizing why she hasn't named any policies or plans yet. So she finally laid out. Oh, my computer is freezing. Uh, this is crazy to be. Okay, it was my internet, whatever. She finally laid out in her own economic plan. So I'm gonna just tell y'all what I have, and y'all let me know what y'all think about, um, based on the notes I have. What y'all feel about this? Okay, so pretty much here, let me read this a little bit of this article now. It says Kamala Harris outlined proposals to cut taxes for most Americans, ban price gouging by grocers, and build more affordable housing on Friday as part of an economic or opportunity economy she plans to pursue when she wins the White House. Now, she's rolling out this plan, right? But I don't I don't know if this was like a formal plan. Normally, when these politicians say like this is my agenda, these are my policy proposals, whatever, they'll put it on their website as like the plan, so you can fully read everything. I don't think she put it out that way, but she laid it out in a speech. So I'm gonna just get running down. So I'm gonna hit the bullet points. Lower prescription drug prices, right? She's saying like we're gonna lower drug prices across the board, not just for seniors, but for everybody. That's including insulin or anything that's prescription. This is now that was one that they've been talking about for years. That's a Biden plan, whatever. To me, this was a new one. I haven't heard her say this one before. Cancel medical debt for millions of people. So I think that's a big one. They're gonna cancel medical debt. That's big because they was pushing the whole student loan debt. We're gonna get rid of that. A lot of people felt like they didn't. A lot of people had their debt canceled though, for sure. I've seen people say that. They're gonna ban price gouging. Uh, so banning price gouging, I guess, what's price gouging? If you increase the price more than a certain percent, that's considered gouging. So that's a good thing. That's going to help slow down with inflation if they actually do it. This is a big one. They're going to build 3 million new affordable homes for the middle class to buy and rent. Now, that's big because there's a housing supply shortage. So even people who are ready to buy a house, there's just not enough houses available for the people trying to buy right now, right? So she's saying they're going to build affordable housing for purchase and rent. The thing about it is that's interesting. The middle class is a broad gap. It's a broad range of people, right? From like 40,000 up to like 200,000, some crazy like that. So what's affordable to that range of people is very different at the top and the bottom, right? So I don't know what they mean when she's keep harping on the whole middle class thing. No, middle class might not be up to 200,000 because that's almost 1%. But she's harping on the middle class thing, but she's not just like addressing the spectrum that exists within the middle class. So I do want to know what this affordable homes thing, like, is it affordable to people who make 40,000 a year? Or is it affordable to people who make 110,000 a year? You know what I'm saying? There's two different groups of people. Even though they all consider middle class, they are living very different lives. So I'm interested to read the full plan that she talks about with that one. I want to know. Now, $25,000 to first-time home buyers. Now, I did a podcast and I did a segment on Joe Biden had a first-time home buyer credit proposal that he was going to give $10,000 as a tax credit. So he just proposed that a few months ago. I'm assuming that this is what Kamala Harris is talking about, $25,000 to first-time home buyers. It sounds to me, because I didn't just read these articles that are just like filling in the blanks for her. I watched the whole speech that she gave. She said they're giving first-time home buyers $25,000. I know they're not just giving it. So I wonder, is this down payment assistance loans program or is this a tax credit? I felt when I talked about the Biden plan, I felt that this should be down payment assistance program, right? Because if you make it a tax credit, that only helps the people who can afford to buy the house and then get the money back later, right? You need it to be a down payment assistance because people are having an issue with the down payment of these expensive ass houses right now, right? So are you giving $25,000 down payment assistance? That's going to change the game if people can get that much money in a down payment assistance program. That would change everything, right? So it's just going to be a matter of who's actually eligible. what income level is the cutoff? So and we also talked about a couple months ago, Georgia just came out with a first time home, with a down payment assistance program that is people that make up to like 80 to 100,000 are eligible to use this program, which is unheard of, right? Normally the cutoff is like 40 to 50,000 and you're not eligible for down payment assistance anymore. But Georgia has this program that increased that number way up, right? So I'm waiting also for the full report, for the full agenda to come out so I can read it. Policy proposal. Damn. Another thing, and this was what I consider the last thing. So they're talking about tax credits, earned income tax credit, which she didn't put a number on that. So she says we're going to give tax breaks with the earned income tax credit. And also they're going to give a $6,000 child tax credit for any child up to the first year of life. So a lot of people have been promoting it like, oh, they're about to give 6,000 child tax credit. That's only for children who are like 0 to 12 months. So if you already have kids, you won't get if you already have kids that are older than 1 year old, you're not eligible for the 6K tax credit that's being proposed right now. So I'm not mad at these. I would like to see, to me, a lot of this stuff looks like Biden's stuff. So she just like, I'm just going to build on what Biden already did. People are already used to hearing these messages. I'm going to just use that, roll it into my plan because I don't really have time to flesh out full policies or anything like that. So the thing I hear that's new is building 3 million houses and also canceling medical debt. To me, I don't remember Biden saying those things. So I think that's brand new right there. So those are some good new things for her to throw in the game right there. And again, I'm critical of the Democrats because for my whole life I've been voting Democrat. So I'm allowed to be critical of the Democratic Party because that's the way I vote, right? Now, at the presidential level, the Democrats haven't had me in a while, right? So they haven't been getting my vote. I haven't been voting Republican either. I vote, I'm writing in things. You understand? However, I do think that she's on the right track because Republicans been putting a lot of pressure on them to talk about inflation and the price of the economy right now. She's on the right track, but she just regurgitated a bunch of stuff that Biden was already kind of saying for the last 4 years. So I don't know if this is progressive or radical enough for like those middle voters that don't really know, or undecided voters who don't really know what they want to do yet. So we'll see. We'll see how the people feel when it's time to vote. And I also do want her to keep on pushing to try to get some new policies out there to let us know what her actual stance is on a lot of things. It's smart of her to come with the economic policy first before the immigration thing, because that was a big criticism of that party, that they was focused way too much on getting these immigrants some citizenship. A story just came out. Remember, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, how the difference between the total voter count in 2016. So 2016 total voter was like 128 million people, right? That's what on a presidential election. And then in 2020, the total voter count was like it was 81 to 74. It was like 55 million. Wait, what did I just say? Yeah. It's about 155 million. So the total voter increase was almost 30 million people, right? So I was saying, how did we get this many new voters? That doesn't make sense. Voter participation hasn't gone up. We don't have that many new 18-year-olds every year to add up to that. And we don't have that many more new voters, period, right? So where did all these voters come from? Where did all these almost 30 million voters come from? A report just came out that I saw today, or I heard on the radio, then I went and looked it up. In Alabama, they found, now this is a small number relatively, but this is indication of a bigger issue, especially in places where there are larger immigrant populations. They found 3,000 registered voters in Alabama that are not citizens of America. They are here legally as immigrants. They are legal. So they're not illegal, undocumented immigrants, but they are non-citizens and they are registered to vote improperly, right? Meaning they shouldn't be registered at all to vote, and Alabama found it. Now, if Alabama, a state that's pretty much just white and black people, white Americans and black Americans, in a state like Alabama, if they found 3,000 of these type of voters, where supposedly a bunch of voter suppression is happening and a bunch of voter rights violations going on. If Alabama found that many, how many do you think are in Georgia, where there's a lot more immigration in Georgia? How many do you think are in a place like New York State, a place like Illinois, a place like California, a place like Texas, a place like Florida? How many more non-citizens do you think are registered to vote in those places, right? So I think that with that revelation in Alabama, I think a lot more states are going to start digging, especially states that lean red, lean Republican. I think a lot more digging is going to happen, and I think we are about to see a lot of that. Like I said, if it's happening like that in Alabama, I can't imagine a place like D.C. where there's a large immigrant population, a place like New York, where New York City, 10 million strong, almost everybody is an immigrant or a child of an immigrant or a grandchild of an immigrant, right? Almost the whole city. So it's going to be interesting how this moves forward. But yeah, they found about 3,000 people who are not supposed to be registered to vote registered in Alabama.